Tonight, I want to begin with a contradiction, because on the surface, the war in Ukraine looks old. Trenches, artillery barrages, mud, barbed wire, minefields stretching for miles. Scenes that feel like they belong in 1916, not 2026. And yet, just above those trenches, hovering, blinking, recording, are thousands of drones, cheap quadcopters, long-range loitering munitions, autonomous reconnaissance systems, and high above them, satellites are mapping every movement. Interception systems are listening. Algorithms are processing. Artificial intelligence is helping decide where to strike next. This is not World War I. It is something far more complex, a collision between the industrial past and the digital future. And the battlefield in Ukraine has become the most intensely observed, technologically dynamic war zone on Earth. What we are watching is not just a conflict, it is a laboratory. When Russia invaded, it expected overwhelming force to produce quick results: armor, missiles, air power, shock and awe. Instead, it encountered a battlefield transformed by accessibility. Drones that cost a few $100s destroyed tanks worth millions. Commercial satellite imagery gave civilians and journalists near real-time visibility into troop movements. Open-source intelligence analysts on social media tracked units faster than some governments. Information asymmetry shrank. The monopoly on battlefield awareness dissolved. This is revolutionary. For most of modern history, only powerful states could see the battlefield from above. Now anyone with internet access can monitor it. That transparency reshapes strategy. Surprise becomes harder. Denial becomes harder. Atrocity concealment becomes harder. Narrative control weakens. The war in Ukraine is the first conflict where TikTok clips, Telegram channels, and satellite imagery combine into a near-continuous public feed of war. That changes everything. Commanders must fight under observation. Politicians must govern under scrutiny. Propaganda must compete with footage. But the most transformative shift is drones. Ukraine has integrated drones into nearly every layer of combat: reconnaissance, artillery spotting, precision strike, logistics delivery, naval disruption, swarm attacks. Drones have democratized air power. Air superiority no longer requires fleets of expensive jets alone. It requires software, operators, signal resilience. Innovation cycles measured in weeks, not years. Ukrainian workshops modify designs rapidly. New countermeasures emerge constantly. Electronic warfare units jam signals. Operators adapt frequencies. A technological chess match unfolds daily. Russia has responded in kind, scaling production, importing components, deploying Iranian-designed loitering munitions, hardening positions, integrating anti-drone systems. The result is a battlefield where innovation is survival. The side that adapts faster gains advantage, not permanently, temporarily, then adaptation continues. This is war at startup speed. There is another dimension: artificial intelligence, AI-assisted targeting, pattern recognition, image analysis, logistics optimization, predictive modeling, not fully autonomous warfare, not yet, but augmented decision-making, reducing human delay, increasing precision, increasing lethality, and increasing moral complexity. Because when algorithms assist targeting, accountability blurs. Who is responsible? The operator, the programmer, the commander? Ukraine is not alone in testing this. Every major military is studying these developments, learning, simulating, preparing. Then there is cyber warfare. Ukraine has endured relentless cyber attacks, power grids targeted, communication networks disrupted, government databases attacked. But Ukraine's digital resilience has surprised many observers. Cloud backups, international partnerships, redundant systems, private sector collaboration. The war forced Ukraine to digitize governance further. Government services moved online, data mirrored abroad, cyber defense integrated with military command. The battlefield expanded into code, and here is the paradox. While the war showcases cutting-edge technology, it has also revived brutal simplicity. Artillery dominates, shell production determines tempo, minefields shape geography, infantry assaults grind forward, trench systems stretch for miles, industrial capacity matters again, factories. Ammunition stockpiles, steel, explosives, supply chains. The future of war is hybrid. High-tech drones above, industrial attrition below. States that prepared only for counterinsurgency are recalibrating. Wars between near-peer powers demand depth. redundancy, reserves, manufacturing. The West has been forced to rethink production capacity, ammunition shortages exposed fragility, defense industries expanded, supply chains diversified, stockpiles rebuilt. The war reminded policymakers of something uncomfortable. Deterrence requires inventory, not slogans, not doctrines, inventory. Meanwhile, smaller nations are learning asymmetric lessons. Taiwan studies Ukraine's drone strategy. Baltic states expand territorial defense. Nordic countries integrate civil resilience. Even non-aligned states are reconsidering air defense systems. The diffusion of lessons is global. Ukraine's suffering is shaping military planning worldwide, but there is a human cost to innovation. Drone warfare is intimate. Operators watch targets closely, often for hours, then strike. Psychological toll accumulates. Surveillance erodes privacy. Constant aerial presence alters daily life. Civilians live under buzzing skies. War becomes ambient, persistent, unavoidable. That too is the future. Low-cost, constant threat, hard to eliminate entirely. This war is also redefining naval conflict. Ukraine, with a limited navy, has used maritime drones to push back a larger fleet. Explosive surface drones struck ships, forced repositioning, changed control of the Black Sea. Asymmetry reshaped maritime balance. Again, innovation over mass. But innovation requires agility. Ukraine's decentralized ecosystem enables rapid iteration. Russia's centralized procurement slows it. System design influences battlefield speed, and this brings us back to governance. Modern warfare rewards adaptability. Open systems adapt faster. Closed systems protect secrecy. But secrecy can conceal failure. Transparency can accelerate correction. Ukraine's battlefield has become proof of that principle. Still, no side has achieved decisive technological dominance. Countermeasures evolve as fast as weapons. It is a cycle. Drone, jammer, upgrade, counter-upgrade. The edge is fleeting. This suggests future wars will be defined not by a single breakthrough, but by continuous innovation capacity, the state that can learn fastest. Manufacture fastest, deploy fastest. Recover fastest will endure. And endurance is the key word, because despite all the technology, this remains a war of will. Machines amplify decisions. They do not replace resolve. Ukraine fights for survival. Russia fights for power. That difference shapes how technology is used and how long it can be sustained. The future of war is not coming. It is already here, in muddy trenches with fiber optic cables, in drone workshops in basements, in satellite feeds in Washington, in encrypted chats on the front lines. Ukraine is the proving ground. The rest of the world is watching, taking notes, preparing. The question is not whether these lessons will spread. They will. The question is whether the world will use them for deterrence or for replication. Because innovation does not guarantee peace. It guarantees capability. What leaders do with that capability will define the next decade. For more than a century, control of the sky meant control of the war. From World War I biplanes to stealth bombers, from the Battle of Britain to the Gulf War, air superiority was the ultimate military advantage. If you owned the air, you could move freely on the ground, you could strike at will, you could intimidate, surveil, and dominate. Air power was expensive. It required fleets of aircraft, elite pilots, massive training pipelines, complex logistics, advanced industry. Only great powers could afford it. Ukraine changed that equation, not with jets, with toys. That is how many analysts first described them. Small quadcopters, plastic frames, off-the-shelf components, bought online, modified in garages, operated by volunteers, cost a few $100s, impact millions. In the first months of the war, Ukrainian soldiers began attaching grenades to consumer drones and dropping them on Russian positions. Crude, improvised, unreliable, and devastating. Because suddenly every trench, every vehicle, every bunker was visible, exposed, watched, hunted. The sky was no longer empty, it was crowded by thousands of eyes. Drones eliminated hiding. Movement became dangerous. Concealment became temporary. Surprise became rare. This was not traditional air power. No runways, no radar towers, no air bases, just backpacks and batteries. It was air superiority without airplanes, and Russia was unprepared. Its air defense systems were designed to intercept jets and missiles, not swarms of cheap drones. Shooting down a $500 drone with a $100,000 missile made no sense, but ignoring them was worse. So Russia adapted electronic jamming, signal interception, portable anti-drone weapons, camouflage, netting, decoys, but Ukraine adapted faster, frequency hopping, autonomous navigation, pre-programmed routes, fiber optic tethered drones immune to jamming. Night vision payloads, AI-assisted targeting. The battlefield became a contest of engineers, innovation cycles compressed. What took years now took weeks. A design would appear, be countered, be replaced, be improved. This rapid iteration is unprecedented. It resembles Silicon Valley more than the Pentagon. Ukrainian drone units operate like startups, testing, failing, refining, deploying, sharing code, crowdfunding, prototypes. Feedback loops are immediate. Success means survival. Failure means death. Russia, constrained by centralized procurement, struggled to match that speed. Contracts took months. Approvals stalled. Corruption interfered. The system favored scale over agility. In drone warfare, agility wins. Another transformation, loitering munitions. Kamikaze drones. Weapons that combine surveillance and strike. They search. They wait. They choose, then they dive. They blur the line between missile and aircraft. Ukraine used Western-supplied systems and domestic designs. Russia used Iranian Shahed drones and local variants. Cities became targets, power grids, ports, warehouses, residential areas. Drone swarms attacked infrastructure at low cost, overwhelming defenses, forcing expensive interceptors to respond. Economics shifted. Defense became more expensive than offense. This inversion is dangerous. It favors aggressors. It incentivizes saturation attacks. It makes critical infrastructure permanently vulnerable. Air defense systems like Patriot and NASAMS can intercept advanced missiles, but they cannot cover every building, every transformer, every bridge. Drones exploit gaps. They hunt seams. They are persistent. This is the end of absolute air dominance. Even the most advanced militaries cannot fully control low-altitude airspace anymore. The sky is contested permanently. Another shift, real-time targeting. Drones feed live video to artillery units. Shells adjust mid-flight. Fire becomes surgical. Trenches that once took hours to locate are destroyed in minutes. Ambushes are exposed. Reinforcements are tracked. The battlefield becomes transparent. Transparency kills. This has psychological effects. Soldiers report feeling constantly watched. No safe zones. No true rear areas. No rest. Fatigue accumulates, stress multiplies, mental health suffers. Drone warfare is omnipresent, invisible, relentless. Naval warfare changed too. Maritime drones struck ships in port, in transit, near harbors. Ukraine forced Russia's Black Sea fleet to retreat without a major navy, a historic reversal. Control of sea lanes shifted through remote devices. Again, asymmetry. Low-cost platforms undermined high-value assets. Every aircraft carrier, every destroyer. Every submarine is now vulnerable to swarms. This terrifies navies worldwide, and they are scrambling. Developing laser defenses, microwave weapons, automated guns, AI tracking, counter-swarm systems, but these are expensive and unproven at scale. The offense-defense balance is unstable. Drone warfare also democratizes intelligence. Small units gather strategic-level data. Footage goes viral. OSINT analysts map positions. Civilian researchers analyze patterns. Military secrecy erodes. This constrains planning. Surprise attacks become harder. Deception becomes more important. Camouflage returns. Decoys proliferate. Inflatable tanks. Fake radars. Dummy positions. War becomes theater, but with lethal consequences. There is another consequence: escalation risk. Drones cross borders easily. Attribution is ambiguous. Was it state-controlled? Was it proxy? Was it rogue? This ambiguity complicates retaliation. It lowers thresholds. Gray zone conflict expands. Ukraine and Russia have both experienced cross-border drone strikes. The world is watching because future wars may be fought largely through remote platforms. Reducing political risk, increasing frequency. This is dangerous. When leaders can strike without deploying troops, restraint weakens. Finally, there is the moral dimension. Drone operators are distant, targets are pixels. Killing becomes mediated, not abstract, but filtered. Psychologists warn this alters ethical perception. It can reduce empathy or intensify trauma, depending on context. Ukraine trains operators extensively, provides counseling, rotates units. Russia, less so. Long-term consequences are unknown. What is clear is this: air superiority, as understood in the 20th century, is over. No nation can monopolize the sky anymore. It is shared. Contested, weaponized, democratized, the future belongs not to those with the most planes, but to those who can innovate fastest, adapt quickest, integrate cheapest, and sustain longest. Ukraine learned this under fire. The rest of the world is learning it from Ukraine, at a distance for now.